everyone. So we're here today to present a very hot topic in technology, the topic of data spaces. So this concept has recently grown in notoriety, not only as the European Commission proposed a regulation in data governance, but several major players, such as the FIWARE Foundation, have helped develop this topic. And Ubiwhere, as a gold member of the FIWARE Foundation, and with a member in the board of directors, its co-CEO, Rui Costa, has the pleasure to welcome Ulrich Ahle, the FIWARE Foundation CEO, to be here today to explain to us what exactly are data spaces and how the FIWARE Foundation has helped to broadcast this concept. So Ulrich, thank you so much for accepting our invitation to be here today. So can you explain to us in a very simple manner what exactly are data spaces and what's the importance of this concept? Thank you.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me here to your booth, an impressive booth, so congratulations. Yeah, it's about data spaces. Our new digital life will gravitate around data. And therefore, it is important to get, on the one side, access to data, but also to handle data in a trustful way, something we call data sovereignty. And to enable this, it is important to agree on certain standards, on data formats, on data interfaces, to support mission-critical processes. And let me take one example. For example, when talking about smart mobility. So how to get from A to B, not only with my private car, but also using buses, using scooters, using rental cars, and to have all this information accessible, that is the role of a data space. In that case, a mobility data space, yeah, providing information about public transportation, providing weather information, because it might be different how to get from A to B for me, whether it's raining, then I might take a bus, or whether the sun is shining, I will take a bike sharing instrument. And these, in the past, this data were often organized in data silos. So data by the scooter rentals, by the bike sharing company, by the public transportation company. And our ambition with data spaces is to bring this data onto one common place, in one data lake, in one data space, however you call it. We call it data spaces, and make this data accessible and usable for mission-critical processes. And it is a mission-critical process to bring me from A to B. Yeah, and that makes life much easier. There are also other examples. For example, in Germany, there's at the moment a project going on called Catena X, creating a data space for the manufacturing industry to be able to share data between suppliers and customers, where in the past this data management was done in one-to-one connections. Everyone established one by one and only data exchange between two companies. Now they found a way to create such a data space where the companies are providing their data, and the companies who need the data simply get them from there with much less effort, but still all the data are available. And this is the role of data spaces to enable the data economy and to make the life a bit easier.
Thank you for helping me understand this concept better. I know for a fact that the FIWARE Foundation, with some other associations, has launched the Data Spaces Business Alliance. Can you tell me a bit more about it? What was the goal with this alliance, and what exactly is the role of the FIWARE Foundation within this alliance?
Yeah, we created a bit more than 1 year ago, as you mentioned, the Data Spaces Business Alliance. We, in this case, means the Gaia X organization, the Big Data Value Association, the International Data Spaces Association, and FIWARE. So the four of us, we found out that all of us are working in the domain of data spaces. And we also found out that it makes sense to join forces, to align our activities, and to agree on a common architecture of the creation of data spaces, which will be and which are created in different domains, like I mentioned before, mobility, in manufacturing, in agriculture, in smart cities. And there are several other domains, and it is very important to come up with concepts with a common architecture for the creation of these data spaces to allow an interoperability between these data spaces. Because imagine that a smart city data space is not able to work together with a smart energy data space or a smart mobility data space. All is happening within the same city and they can't talk to each other. So that would be a catastrophe. And we are here to avoid this catastrophe, to make data spaces interoperable. And the role of FIWARE in here is to bring especially standard interfaces, standard data models as two of the main enablers for interoperability into this system. And of course, to also bring in our experience from the real world, because you know, FIWARE in the meantime is the world leading open source technology for smart cities. And we are bringing in as a foundation all this experience from real world implementations into the creation of this new concept of data spaces.
Thank you once again, Ulrich, for that explanation. So, just to conclude, and as a last question, how do you view the role of the FIWARE Foundation and all of its members towards the evolution of this concept and several other concepts in which the FIWARE Foundation is involved?
Yeah, we have a long-lasting history of creating platforms to use data, and data spaces are about managing and providing access to data. And it is very important, beside the minimum requirements of security, of data security, end-to-end security, from the sensor level up to the application level, also to provide something which is called data sovereignty. So that I am, as a producer of a set of data, can benefit from the value of my data. And this is a very important role of the FIWARE Foundation in this game. And although we are at the moment limited to Europe when talking about data spaces, we are much and more convinced that to have this as a sustainable concept, it needs to be accepted and adapted on a global scale. And as FIWARE, out of the 4 partners in the Data Spaces Business Alliance, we are the most global organization. We are the largest one with more than 550 members. In total, the 4 organizations combine roughly 1,000 members, half of them coming from FIWARE, and most of the global non-European members are coming from the FIWARE Foundation. And as I said, to be sustainable with this approach, it needs to be adopted and accepted on a global scale, and this is one of the roles of FIWARE in this partnership.
Thank you so much, Ulrich, for this brief conversation. It was very enlightful. I want to thank you in the name of the FIWARE Foundation, and I want to say that it's a great pleasure for Ubiwhere to be part of this foundation and to work with FIWARE in several of our projects to help evolve the open source technology and all of these concepts. Thank you.
Thank you for having me here, and all the best for the future.
Thank you.